Hello everybody and welcome to Dynamic GT League's VSC for Race 1 from the DGT Seaside. In this coming championship we're going to be using the Toyota TS030 Group 1 car, the Le Mans car. 402 brake horse, 792 kilos in weight, no traction control, racing soft tyres, tyre wear ×1, fuel at ×8, meaning it's going to be more about fuel than tyres. Qualifying will be 6 minutes long and the races will be 40 minutes long with an interesting new style of starting the races. And talking about the races, we've got some interesting tracks to drive this car on. The first one, as I mentioned, is going to be DGT Seaside. Then we're going to head over to Cirque de la Sarthe, Le Mans. Then it'll be Monza, I believe, the GP circuit. Fuji with the chicane, and then the Red Bull Ring GP circuit. Mount Panorama. Bit of a surprise maybe for this car, but actually it handles that track like a monkey holds poo at a zoo. Laguna Seca will be race 7, Barcelona race 8, and then the final race of the season will be at Blue Moon Bay in Field A. Right, let's head over to the commentators. So here we go then for the Virtual Sunlight Championship Race 1 from the DGT Seaside. Joining me in commentary is Ray. As the race is underway, actually no, the race isn't underway. The formation lap is getting underway, isn't it, Ray?
Yep, yeah. Start procedure we have going.
Yep. I'm guessing you was expecting me to introduce you slightly differently. But anyway, so for anyone that doesn't know, yeah, we're doing a rolling start for this championship, but we're not going to do just the normal in-game rolling start. We're going to have a formation lap. There's a few reasons for this. One, it has the potential to create issues for drivers as their tyres and brakes get cold, but also it's just something different, isn't it? It's something dynamic. So as we have a quick look then through the grid, Steve F1 on pole position, Art Pal in second, good qualifying from him. SGP is sitting in third place, and then who's that in fourth, Ray?
That is Jason, the IKEA flatpack man, and then I expected him to be a wee bit further up in qualifying, but qualifying was close.
Yeah. And
then we've got Demon R just behind him as we go to him. I just timed that just well, didn't I?
You did, yeah.
It's down in fifth. Let's see, what was the qualifying time?
Well, I can tell you he had a bad qualifying session. Twilight, though, 6th place, with a Ken Block livery, by the way, a Ken Block memorial livery. So rest in peace, Ken. Absolutely mental rally sort of racer, and yeah, we all know what he was like. Unfortunately, passed away last week. Conrad in 7th place, David Harp in 8th. Gary, I've got to say, I like Gary's livery. In 9th place, Gary is.
Yep, and 10th, we've got Jimmy. We'll see if he'll be getting this car sideways.
Well, if he does, I'll be amazed. Almighty Arch, Bob, with a very special livery in 11th place, and Rich Blues in 12th. And then we've got, hey, we're not going to miss him, are we? And then we've got SRI. Okay, back to the leaders. Okay, should have mentioned, this first gantry is the beginning of the go-no-go zone. Steve F1 can choose to go at any point now, but no one can overtake him now.
Go!
He's going, and Arpal taking the lead. Arpal's taking the lead straight away. Is he? Yes, he is. Down into turn 1. It looks like Jason's lost a few places as well. Demon R going deep though and off the track. Maybe cold tyres for him. Now lets Jason back through, and Twilight. But a good start for Arpal, and Steve F1 down to third now.
Yeah, and he's got Twilight right over the back of him. I mean, Twilight's got a strong driver, so they're looking to see where Twilight goes to stick his nose in.
Yeah, absolutely. Although if you're going to stick your noses somewhere, make sure you do take a breath first, or at least go
Make sure it's not brown.
True, yeah. Steve F1 got a bit of a run on SGP here, side by side, as they make their way towards the Harbour hairpin. Interesting corner in this car because it is surprisingly very, very late braking and very, very quick corner. 2x2 into Mitchell's bomb hole. They go single file. I don't blame them, and I would not be surprised if we do see a few guys into the wall. Oh, someone hit the wall. Dave the Arp. He tagged the barrier on the exit. We are going to see people into those barriers. We always do. It's just the nature of the beast. Should quickly mention...
Look at that. And a pack cam 4 wide going into the last corner there.
Absolutely. Also, just mention as well, Dave the Harp, tagged the barrier, but Demon R's not even in the top 8 at the moment. As Jason got a run on SGP, having a look up the inside, thinks better of it. Twilight got a bit twitchy on the brakes, as on the pack cam. Dave and Bob, I believe, battling away. Yes, they are. Bob has actually just taken 8th place off Dave, as we're having a look at Twilight, heading into Brokeback, right up Jason's flat pack. Oh, Bob! Oh, on the back cam, had a cheeky look at Gary's rear wheel there.
Yeah, and Twilight all over the back of Jason as we come up the... What's this, the S's? Dick curve, or we're just past Dick curve?
Yeah, Dick curve is the kink heading into the S's. The S's don't have a name.
Into the Harbour hairpin, hard on the brakes. I don't know, I was going into this in first gear and coming out on second. Don't know if it was any good.
Well, I mean, I think it can be done in second gear. It probably could be done in third. Jason's got a brilliant run on SGP, and Steve F1 has closed the gap to Art Pal at the front. Jason taking the position. We do need to mention, though, obviously we have tyre indicator and fuel indicator available on the screen for people. The tyres should last the whole race, so the drivers won't need to change them, but will people decide to change them anyway? We'll have to wait to see, as SGP got a bit of a run on Jason, but isn't going for the move. The fuel, though, as you can tell, we're only 3-4 laps into this race, and these guys have already used a bit over a quarter of a tank. That means that the fuel is going to be the dictator around the season. So, how are drivers going to deal with that? Well, if you drive too aggressive or extend your gears, then you're going to burn up the fuel. If you save fuel, you could end up going very, very slow. But I believe, Ray, here we could be looking at 2-stop or 3-stop as a strategy for the fuel.
Yeah, 2 to 3. I couldn't see MD doing it non-stop, or even a no-stop. I don't think it would last. As we see, Twilight, he's giving SGP a bit of bother as he gets a move done just before Mitch's bomb hole.
That he does. It was a lovely overtake that by Twilight. Also, for the viewers, you may spot that underneath the fuel gauge is a white box that keeps filling up green and then emptying. Basically, these cars do have a hybrid system, as SGP's all over the back of Twilight. And on the back cam, somebody was off into the barrier. A couple of cars behind SRI, and I think I've just seen Demon R peeling off into the pits. So these cars do have a hybrid. It regenerates under braking, but then it disappears very, very, very quickly. It's not really a system that the drivers are going to be able to manage throughout the race, is it, Ray? It's just comes and goes so fast.
Yeah, it only regenerates on the braking. I hope that's what you were talking about, because my mind just went blank.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, regenerates on the braking only, and it deploys when you're more than 3/4 on the accelerator. So the drivers don't have really much choice of when it gets deployed and when it refills. As we see Conrad looking at the back SGP coming into Harbour hairpin, as we've still got his battle with Twilight and Jason, which has been look at the gap Twilight got on SGP after overtaking the same area.
SGP's fuel saving at the moment. because Conrad's making the move now. Art Pal still leading on the pack cam as well. A few moments ago there was a big battle. There's the battle on the main screen. I was going to say behind SRI, but yeah, I do wonder if SGP is sort of doing a little bit of fuel saving right now. Conrad is still ahead I mean, Conrad's going defensive, but I don't think SGP's really going for it. Twilight still ahead of Jason, and he's actually closing in on...
Back cam.
Yeah, I just seen the rear end of someone's car there. I think was that SRI?
Yeah, SRI. A wee nudge into the barrier.
Is it too late to say sorry? Okay, so yeah, Twilight's catching up to Steve F1. I'm wondering if Steve F1 started doing a little bit of fuel saving as well, because he's dropped off from Art Pal.
It could be. They could be trying to mix up the pit stops. Yeah, you know when you've been tangled. SRI knows when he's been bobbled.
Oh yeah, been bubbled or bubbled. Who was that? I tell you what. All right, here's a great story. Right, Art Pal's livery. I must admit, absolutely love it. A throwback, the silk cut. When I saw it, it actually made me think, oh, maybe I could do a bread livery and have thick cut, like you remember, like it had your name. But I thought, no.
Is that not Bunsel's livery?
It could be, yeah, it could be actually. Jason's got a run on Twilight, but I think he's just doing a bit of bug drafting. Yep. Okay, let's have a quick look at the fuel then for Jason. Jason's got a bit over a quarter of a tank. Time-wise, though, obviously we're on a 40-minute race, so for a 3-stop strategy, you'd be looking at pitting after 10 minutes. Go on.
Twilight's got more fuel. Not much, but he's still got more.
That he has.
Than Jason.
Yeah. So 3-stop, you pit around 10 minutes, 20 minutes, then 30 minutes. If you're going to 2-stop, then you'd pit around 13 minutes and then 26 minutes. And if you wanted to 1-stop it, you'd be going very slow, but you'd have to try and get to 20 minutes. Now, looking at these guys up at the front, it looks like they're all going to be able to get to the sort of 13th minute quite comfortably. Demon R, though, he's got a lot of fuel in his car, but that's because he pitted a little while ago as he's trying to make a move on Jimmy into the bubble. It's not the bubble, it's me. Yeah, it is Mitchell's bubble, isn't it?
Yep. He got that one. Then he's going to be looking at Rich Blues here. Yep. Demon R takes the inside line, the corner. He might be a wee bit slower coming out, but we'll see. He might just have enough there.
Yeah, Twilight going for the move. Sorry, Twilight going for the move, is he, for second? Oh no, tucks back in. I am hearing that it was a change up of strategy for Demon R, and on the pack cam is now behind Gary, side by side with Rich. No, Rich has just got a little bit wide. But yeah, so from what I'm hearing, Demon R pitted early, has filled up his tank, but is expecting to pit again around about the 13-minute mark, but will have less fuel to then put in. So he's kind of gone from being stuck a bit further back and trying to get himself further up the front. It's an interesting strategy. Twilight's strategy, though, is harassment of Steve F1 at the moment.
Yeah, he's going for a move into Harbour Airpin. Yep, can he get it stopped? Oh, I thought he was going in the back of Art Pal there, but he managed to get it stopped just in time and manages to place his car that Steve F1 couldn't come back at him.
Yeah, lovely overtake. I think Twilight might like this car. He usually
might
doesn't
not like the track.
Oh, no, Demon R, sorry.
Demon R!
Yeah, and SRI making the move on Gary. I think Gary may have just tagged the barrier. Art Pal heading to the pits. Interesting, 25% of fuel left for Art Pal. So he could have... Oh, SGP in the pits as well with 37%. So Art Pal's used a bit more fuel, but he's going to have a shorter stop than these guys, I reckon.
SRI looking for the move on Demon R.
How dare he?
Cam.
He's not been able to get through. Twilight, though, leading the race now, he is.
Yeah, I think he likes this car in this track.
Yeah.
What's the difference with the lights on the side?
Okay. In the top 3, if you're in first, you'll have 1 light. If you're in second, you'll have 2 lights. And if you're in third, you'll have 3 lights.
Okay.
Yeah. So we may not be able to see it very clearly, but yeah, it will see on, like, Jason did have 3 lights. Yeah, he did have 3 lights. Now he'll have 2 lights, and Steve will have 3 lights. Yeah. So.
Nice.
Yes, fair point, fair question. And thankfully, I knew the answer to that.
The drivers aren't going to see it, so I take it for spectators.
It is, yeah. Now, I think these cars, they're actually quite old now. So, obviously, the much more modern ones have digital displays on the side to actually sort of all 3. Yeah, and to be fair, they've all got hardly any. Steve F1 actually, 20% of fuel left. And is that Demon R heading back into the pits? Yes, it is. So this is where Demon R is going to have that shorter pit stop because he filled up a little while ago. Who's that on the screen there? That's Conrad, who's now leading the race. Conrad's doing well on the fuel then.
Yeah, but he's got 1 more lap. Oh, Bob, he's in danger zone.
Yeah, he needs to get in the pits. Otherwise, Jimmy's not doing too bad though. He's nearly got half a tank still.
Yeah.
Art
Pal who's just pitted.
Yeah, once
SGP, it looks like he's just pitted. Steve F1. Hey, Twilight.
Yeah.
Jason, full. Demon R. Oh, it's quite.
Got a bit wobbly, didn't he? But if you remember though, Jason was battling with Twilight for the lead, and Demon R is now there. So that's what did this strategy. Hey, in the pink car though, is getting a little bit swamped as Steve F1's got a bit of a gap now over Twilight, and that's the benefit of Steve F1 having sort of 20% of fuel in the car. Hayes got a little bit twitchy. Jason all over the curb. Oh, this could get interesting. A little wobbly.
The boys right, free wide. Demon R going right round the outside.
What a move! That, to be fair, that was what a move.
Jason's just cut to wall.
Absolutely. Conrad into the pits from the lead of the race. Yes, so Steve F1 having the 20% of fuel compared to the 2% that Twilight had has given him that extra gap when they come out of the pits and he's away from this battle. As Demon R having a look up the inside of Twilight, forcing his way through. Oh, that's a bit rude, isn't it? Oh, someone, is that Bob out of fuel?
Yeah, he was looking slow.
Aye. SRI.
SRI on Hayne. Twilight's not giving up. He's trying to get Demon R into making a mistake.
He's going to have to be careful though, because Jason's right there and SRI is right there as well. I think Hayes just had an issue a little bit further back, coming through Demon's elbow. I must admit, I am liking the look of these cars on the track, because that's Demon R all over the back of Jimmy. Jimmy, who has not pitted yet, and I would guess is running a very lean mixture, because he's just been passed by 2 cars into the S's. Brilliant driving from the 3 of them there. I think Jason's got through as well. Yeah, I think Jimmy's definitely running on a lean engine mode here, isn't he?
Yep, SRI's in the background there, overtaking Jimmy as well. So this is like a 4-way, 5-way battle. If Jimmy turns his fuel mix up,
I think he's going to say if he turns his fucking engine up. I mean, what I will say is, if Jimmy is saving fuel, I mean, it will make the car slow. Twilight making the move on Demon R for 4th place into not stopping. Nice overtake there, but it could be a risk of losing the position at the end of the straight. SRI all over the back of Jason still. Conrad, he's lost a lot of time staying out that extra couple of laps.
The guys have moved over and gave SRI the slipstream, which has kind of done Jason, and it's gave SRI that extra speed. That's not something you want to do.
No, that is true. SRI's got a decent run here actually on Demon R. And one of the things that, I mean, these guys are going to have to be a little careful of is they don't want SRI up the inside into Brokeback. They don't want to be pushing too hard and burning up too much fuel right now, because let's not forget, if they're on the 2-stop strategy, they need to get to 26 minutes into this race. Oh, excuse me, I do apologise. A bit gassy. Okay. Okay, so...
Yeah, sorry, I was taking a drink, so I couldn't fill in there.
That's fine. Okay, so just a quick recap. Art Pal leading the race still. Doing brilliantly, to be honest. He's been leading since lap 1. He's got a bit of a gap to SGP, who's in second place, and he's got a bit of a gap to Steve F1. Then Twilight here, and then we've got Demon R and SRI. And then Jason's dropped back a little bit. And then behind that is Jimmy and a couple of other drivers. I couldn't see who that was. I think it was Hay, Rich there, and Jimmy and Conrad. So Conrad is, lost the... Ooh. Getting a little twitchy there.
Yeah. And Jimmy getting passed by Rich. I think Jimmy needs to turn his
engine
engine up, yeah.
Yeah, Conrad's got past him as well. He's got another 2 guys trying to get past him as well. David Harp and Hay. David R run a little bit wide. These 3 are in an interesting situation. If they kind of don't battle, they could be okay. If they battle, they could lose a lot of times. On the pack cam, it's getting very busy, 2 by 2 through Brokeback.
Try and say that to a Scotsman, not a battle.
Yeah.
Especially when it's an Englishman in front of him.
Yeah, just keep calm. It's all right. It's still side by side on the pack cam. David Arp giving Conrad a little bit of a bump drafter, a little bit of a boost. As Twilight manages to hold on. Jimmy got very close to Dave the Harp there, I think.
Yeah, I think with the bump draft, and then when Dave the Harp got on the brakes, it just slowed down pretty quickly because he thought, somebody hit the wall. Was that Hay?
It was Dave.
I was like, yeah.
It was Dave, I think. Oh, it might have been Hay. I'm pretty sure it was Dave. Dave was behind Rich. I'm pretty sure it was Dave, unfortunately. Demon R's got a good run on Twilight. Twilight must have had a bit of a slow final corner. Side by side they go. You're going to have to watch out for that pesky Scotsman in the background. So side by side they go. Actually, SRI making the move on Demon R there. Nice sneaky little overtake. Jason's going to have to be careful though on the pack cam. He's coming under a lot of pressure now from Conrad and the rest of the field.
Yeah, so he is. I would expect Jason to be up close to this battle or further ahead. Maybe he's just doing a wee bit of fuel saving for the end, because we do know on practice he ran out of fuel twice. So maybe he's still got that in the back of his head.
Yeah, because let's not forget as well.
Or in the instructions, he's flat pack how to drive.
Sorry, I just seen Gary tagging the back of Jason. Conrad side by side with Jason towards Mitch's bombhole. On the pack cam is Conrad ahead yet? Not quite. Yes, he is now. Jason gonna have to be careful though. He's on the wrong line. He got passed by Gary as well. As SRI closing in on Twilight now. He's going for it. He's a mad Scotsman. The good thing about this car is it's got grip, so you can have... SGP's in the pits with 45% of fuel. Yeah. Someone else is peeling into the pits as well. I think it was formerly Gary. So SRI ahead of Twilight. Go on.
He was behind Conrad. He's not behind Conrad anymore.
I'll see if I can get some information about what SGP's reasoning for pitting was, but Twilight and SRI still battling for now 3rd place. Bit of a gap to Steve F1, not much of a gap, it's just there, but Art Pal is already in the S's. It's all going well for Art Pal up at the front at the moment. And I am hearing as well, for SGP, it could be one of those situations where pitting now and filling the tank up, using the boost to catch up again, and then when he pits again, has a shorter pit stop. Twilight round the outside.
Is he going to make this stick?
He's going to try.
He's trying.
They're both a little wide there on turning. SRI manages to hold on. That's allowed Demon R to close in. Twilight could be coming under a little bit of pressure now. It's an interesting one. Going side by side into Mitch's bombhole. I mean, we may see cars using interesting lines, but it's one of those where it's not an easy place to give space, is it? Well, it's not an easy place to give space and stay on top.
Yeah. Oh, somebody spinning in a pack cam. I couldn't see who it was.
Yeah.
No, especially the speed you're going through, which is bumhole that as well. It's fast paced, and there's not that much you can do when you're offline as well.
That's so slippery in there, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so quick look at Art. How's his fuel? Got over a quarter of a tank.
The line you take isn't like as wide as the whole track you can see here, coming down to Harbour Hairpin. It narrows in, so yeah, it's a difficult place to overtake on.
Interesting looking at the fuel there as you're talking. Art Pal with more than enough fuel to do another 3 minutes. Steve F1 similar. SRI and Twilight got a little bit less. They've only got a quarter of a tank, but they should be okay to do a couple more minutes as they're sort of battling. Demon R's dropped off quite a bit from these, so I don't know if he's had a bit of a moment somewhere. Conrad has got a lot of fuel on board at the moment, so I'm thinking Conrad may be able to go another 2 or 3 minutes and then have a fairly short stop. An SGP who pitted recently as Rich Blues into the pits. Oh, side by side, sorry, you should have cut in, Ray.
Oh, sorry, I was looking at something else.
It's alright, it's just Twilight and SRI side by side for the third place. Yeah, so Conrad could do a short stop, and SGP, I think, Dave the Arp thinks just tagged the barrier. So yeah, the next round of pit stops I think could be crucial, and I'm wondering if that's why Demon R sort of dropped back a little bit from these two, maybe trying to just save a little bit of fuel, and perhaps have Conrad on the pack cam, he's off! He's into the dirty stuff. He's managed to keep facing the right direction, but he's now going to have SGP, Dave the Harp, and formerly Gary closing in on him.
Yeah, just see them in the background there. But yeah, this battle's still going on. It's not holding up. I hope Twilight's had these monster today.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Okay.
And I don't mean his wife, okay?
Steve F1 into the pits with 70% of fuel. Demon R into the pits with 19%. SRI into the pits with 6%. So Demon R may be able to jump SRI here, but it's 14 minutes to the end. They're going to need to do a bit of fuel saving. Art Pal, he can do this lap, maybe able to do one more, not so sure, but he will have to be careful of being undercut. I think it's
SGP in, he had 69%.
Yeah, so this is where SGP will have see, SGP's very short stop has put him right on the back of SRI coming out of the pits.
Yeah.
Okay, Dave the Arp, he's got just over half a tank, so he could be in for a short pit stop coming soon. Jason, I think he may want to go a little bit longer, but this is kind of catch-22 for a few of these guys now, where really you want to pit as soon as you go.
Somebody really slow back there on the back cam. Who's that?
Is that Bob behind?
Kind of overtook him like he was just standing still.
Steve F1 that is, on the pack cam, and then behind him it's Bob. So I'm wondering if Bob may have had a bit of an issue somewhere. Demon R now trying to get past Bob. Art Pal into the pits then for his final stop. This is now critical for Art Pal. Where will he come out? If he can come out ahead of these guys, he's in for a great chance of winning the race. But how much of an undercut are these guys going to have got? Having said that though, Ray, that's all right.
He sent it, he stamped it, and he nailed it.
He sent it, he licked it, but not in a nice way. Twilight is into the pits as well. He's getting very busy down the main straight now. So SRI all over the back of Steve F1. where Artpal is out ahead of these guys. That is critical for Artpal. There he is. So these guys pitting early, get the undercut, but not enough of one because of having to save a bit of fuel.
Yeah, Demon R try to follow SRI through, and then SGP sticking up the inside.
Oh, wait until Mitch's bomb hole for that. Who's that? Someone else is making a move on Demon R as well. It was Bob having a look at making a move on Demon R. Couldn't quite get it done though. SGP has managed to get past Steve F1 as well. So this has now turned into even more of a battle. We had 3 cars fighting. Now we've got 5 cars fighting for what is technically second place at the moment. But Conrad leading the race. Oh, Steve F1 and SGP side by side.
Yeah, they're going to go side by side all the way, or they're going to single file it. No. Oh!
They just about single filed it. I'm thinking Conrad into the pits. I was going to say, I think Conrad needs to get in the pits. David Harp's carried on going, so David Harp is going to lead this race. Twilight has now got back into this battle, so he's had a longer pit stop also. I think he went a lap longer, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he didn't get the benefit of the undercut, but he will have had the benefit of not having to save fuel. Demon R now having a look at SGP down into the first couple of corners, but Dave the Harp, as I mentioned, leader of the race. He could go a few more laps if he wanted, but I think if I was Dave, I'd recommend getting into the pits and do a nice short stop and push it to the end. Gary, very similar situation. Artpal, though, he's in a prime position as SRI, who's net second at the moment, but got Steve F1, SGP. Demon R.
Steve F1's got a bit more fuel than SRI.
Oh, interesting. Now, obviously, I did mention, Ray, when these guys pitted, that they will have to do some fuel saving to get to the end. So the question will be, will any of them push too much? Because it depends really how long we end up having to do in this stint.
Yeah. Look, you can see that they're pushing each other. The benefit Steve F1's got is the slipstream from SRI, so he can some contact there.
Yeah.
So he's got the benefit of a wee bit of short shifting. He can still keep
the speed
and still keep the speed. So what happens with SRI? Is it pushing it too much, or Steve F1's trying to push him?
SGP says, no, you're alright, Ray, you stay ahead. Steve F1's thinking he's not my friend. But yeah, I mean, what you're saying is absolutely right. I will mention as well, though, I think Dave Yart was listening because he did dive into the pits with 22% of fuel left. So that will be a short stop for him. Gary now leads the race. He's got Artpal closing in on him, but I don't think Artpal will catch him before Gary needs to pit. Demon R has dropped off from the back of SGP, so I'm wondering if Demon R has gone into a bit of fuel save mode now. Twilight's closing in as Steve F1 and SGP side by side. SRI going defensive, SGP having a look up the inside, not quite doing it. Twilight in the background making the move on Demon R as Steve F1 trying to go around the outside of SRI. Now they're side by side. I think SRI may just be ahead. Just, yes.
This is some fantastic racing.
Ooh,
it's at 160 mile an hour. Steve F1 going to go outside again.
Yeah.
Is he trying for a switchback?
Well, the difficulty with that is that there's too many cars close behind them. Someone peeling it.
Demon R?
Yeah, Demon R has peeled into the pits as well. Interesting. Okay, we'll see what we can find out from down in the pit lane. Steve F1 trying to make the move on SRI. Still can't quite get it done at the moment. SGP still... I mean, this is the thing. Steve F1's got to be careful where he positions his car. Because if he puts it in the wrong place, then SGP is going to be in that space. Like here, for example. But SGP not quite making the move. Twilight having a look at SGP, though, and going for the move. He's got it.
Oh.
He That's, yeah, lovely bit of driving from Twilight there. Steve F1's got to run on SRI. I think he needs to get past him if he wants any chance of winning this race. Artpal is just ahead, but this battle is allowing Artpal to have a little bit of a breather as Twilight trying to move on Steve F1. You know what Steve F1's going to be saying in that helmet? It begins with F and ends in F. But, yeah, okay, on the pack come as well. Dave the Harp with Conrad right behind him. So these guys pitted later than the others, but won't have to have saved any fuel. SRI can't quite hold on to that second place any longer. Steve F1 gets through. We'll have to wait and see if Steve F1's going to come under pressure now. Oh, yeah, he is.
SRI's like, no, I'm coming back.
Absolutely. But Steve F1's going to have the inside line. Is he going to go for the late braking? I think he's having to do a little bit too much lifting, Coast. I'm wondering whether SRI's got the fuel, you know, to get to the end. Twilight trying to make another move on Steve F1. Jason is now closing in on these guys. Holy cow. Okay, how's SRI? I want to see where SRI's fuel compared to Steve F1. Probably should have looked at it a little while ago when I was on board with him, but yeah, it's a fascinating situation. I'm also hearing as well that Demon R pitted so that he could go aggressive, not have to save any more fuel. So interesting situation. Or Steve F1.
Oh, we back contact there. Is going into the harbour hairpin. Is SRI giving up, or is he's?
He's not giving up.
When does a Scotsman ever give up?
Well, yeah, according to your wife, never. Oh, okay, Steve.
I just took a swig of beer, it just said.
Okay, so Artpal still got a nice healthy lead. Well, I've got to say, this has been a fantastic battle for second place.
Conrad's pushing Dave the Harp down the straight.
Yeah. So
I don't know where that is.
Well, you know what?
Oh, start finish.
Yeah.
Straight.
Oh, Twilight! Oh, no, Jason! Oh! Twilight's done well to save that. Jason's done well to miss it. Oh, and Twilight. I think Twilight.
Cut the corner.
Yeah.
So up to hit him. He tried his best.
Good awareness.
That was well done.
Yeah, he knew he was in a danger zone there. He's trying to get back up to speed now with Gary side by side him. I think Twilight will be kicking himself a little bit. So that's one car out of this battle. Excuse me. So Steve F1's got a bit over a quarter of a tank. We've only got 4 minutes left of the race.
SRI's deep.
That he is. I wonder if we'll get to see SRI's fuel tank now. Come on, show us this fuel. Come on, show us this fuel.
It shows what you've got.
On the pack cam, it looks like Dave the Arp, Conrad are being closed in by Demon R. SRI trying to make the move on Steve F1 once again. Has done round the final corner, or has he?
Oh, SRI's fuel. Look. That's not.
Oh, yeah, he's not getting to the end. He might. Yeah, I don't think he's getting to the end. Demon R's just made a move on Conrad in the final corner as well, by the way. So Steve F1, he's definitely got a lot more fuel than SRI. SGP, I don't know how much fuel he's got. Oh, side by side, little bit twitchy. On the pack cam, there's loads of cars fighting. This is mental.
When's SRI going to know he's not got the fuel?
Well,
he's providing a great battle, but he wants to get to the end.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing as well is Demon R on the pack cam is trying to make a move on Dave the Harp now, who's only a couple of seconds behind this pack. And don't forget, Demon R pitted again so that he wouldn't have to look after fuel. SGP's got plenty of fuel. He's got over a quarter of a tank, so SGP's in a good position at the moment. The question is, I mean, look at the pack cam. Holy cow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there Dave the Harp? Who's that?
Twilight
getting back. Is that
3
Demon
wide?
R?
It is, yeah. Conrad, Demon R, Gary. Oh, SGP! That's not the direction you want to be facing in the bomb. Oh, as everybody else comes flying through. SGP had the fuel, just not the grip.
Oh, I always seen him facing the wrong way. I don't know what happened. I take it he went for a bus stop.
Yeah, good SRI into the pit, so he definitely was not going to get to the end. And not only that, Ray, I think we've actually got 2 more laps. No, 3 more laps, maybe.
It's not going to be enough time to catch up.
Sorry, it'll be 2 more laps. So Twilight, after having his big crash, or big spin, has managed to get back into 4th. Conrad and Dave the Art battling side by side for 5th. Who's that right behind them? Formula Gary. Rich Blues is there. So this is absolutely epic. Ooh, Twilight got a little wide. Got away with it though.
Who says our races are boring?
Absolutely. Or side by side, Dave and Gary into the S's. A little bit of wing mirrors, but they managed to survive. Demon R got a little bit wide there as well. Steve F1's got a bit of a gap now to Jason. I don't know how. I mean, it may be a concern for Steve F1 that seeing SRI pit because they pitted at the same time. So the question would be, has Steve F1 saved enough? Jason's catching him rapidly.
Jason's got less than Steve F1.
See?
Yeah. So it might be a concern for Jason.
Well, I'm thinking Steve F1 must have been doing a lot of fuel saving on that last lap because Jason's I think Steve F1's got less than Jason because Jason is just driving past Steve.
Oh, we're going to Steve F1. We're going to Steve F1.
Oh, it shows his
we're
fuel.
going to get it.
I'm looking at. I'm not surprised. Look at that as a battle. We've got Dave the Arm, Demon R, Gary side by side. SGP after his crash, trying to get back into it. I mean, I don't know if any of these guys are going to be good on fuel. Gary is. Gary's going to be fine. I would suspect Dave is.
I suspect SRI is.
Yeah. Oh, could you imagine if he just pitted and didn't put enough in? Yeah, he might have enough fuel, but I don't think you can see where he's going because he's just head first into the barrier. It is. Well, we are on the final lap, by the way. So Demon R trying to make a move on. Dave the Arp there.
Gary get close to the back of Dave the Harp there.
Yeah, he did.
Sure it was Gary? Yeah, it was.
SGP and Gary side by side. Art Pals getting towards the final corner now. Got to say, SGP into the barrier again with Gary. Bob says, thank you very much.
Here comes Art Pal.
Yep.
First place, well done.
Fabulous drive from him. Jason holds on for second. Steve F1. Steve F1 had hardly any fuel left. Twilight recovers for 4th. Conrad 5th. Demon R 6th, Dave the Harp 7th. What we got in the pack? SGP 8th, Gary 9th. We're doing Bob Slow. He's out of fuel for the 2nd time in the race. Oh, it's disaster.
Oh. And
is it too late to say sorry? Yeah. I think SRI was a little unfortunate there on that final lap. What I will say, Ray, I think for this season we perhaps try and keep things nice and short and sweet at the end of the races. So well done, everybody. See you later. No, I'm not messing. I do want to just mention a couple of things there, though. First off, Art Pal, fabulous drive, absolutely brilliant. Qualified 2nd, took the lead on the 1st lap, and never looked back. Got very close to, I think, Hay crashing in the bomb hole at one point after his pit stops. But other than that, yeah, fabulous drive from Art Pal. He'll be very pleased with that one. Well, he should be very pleased with that one. I do believe it's his first win.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well done.
But the big question is
it more wins than Rich?
Exactly. Has he got more wins than Rich? And I think the answer is yes. So Rich may have more poles. Yeah, but that don't matter when Art Pal's got more wins.
It depends what poles are.
Well, yeah, that is true. That is true.
What he does behind closed doors.
Knowing Rich, it wouldn't be closed doors, though, would it?
It'd be open.
Yeah, it had like cowboy doors, and they just keep swinging open. Okay, a couple of the things I do want to mention as well is, okay, I mentioned during commentary that I really liked the look of the cars racing round there. But what I also like is that these cars are amazing to drive. But not only that, we have just watched an absolutely action-packed from second, well, not one because we had the formation lap, but from the first lap all the way to the end, non-stop action, brilliant battles, brilliant overtakes, absolutely fantastic to watch. Unfortunately, Bob ran out of fuel twice, but that can happen. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. Really, well, for me, I mean, I'm a bit biased. You might be as well, Ray. I mean, watching that and doing commentary on it, it was fast. For me, it was exciting. It was fabulous. It was really brilliant to watch. I just hope for everybody else watching, it's the same, because it's a bit like, you remember James May saying, like, sometimes you drive a car and it makes your balls tingle. I think that race is kind of one of those races that makes your balls tingle.
Yeah, that race was fantastic. There was not a dull moment in that race.
Absolutely. Oh. Okay.
Quiet.
Yeah, I took a drink.
Oh.
It's one of the things with having such an exciting race, it means I'm talking all the way through. Okay. In a moment, we'll have a look at the confirmed race result and the championship standings. Oh, I did mention as well that obviously we want to keep the end of the race as short as we can, really, keep things a bit snappy. So, Sarton folks, if we don't go like picking on every driver and saying well done or whatever. The G spot will be available again if we need it in this championship. At the moment, though, we haven't got anything to look at on the G spot other than what Rich does behind cowboy doors, and to be honest, you don't want to see that. What we do need to mention, though, Ray, is what the starting procedure is for the next race.
The starting procedure for the next race, the same one as this race.
No, it's not.
What's the next race?
It's Le Mans.
Oh, Le Mans, so, yeah, sorry, apologies. Well, it helped if I knew the track beforehand.
Yeah, true,
true. Doing testing. Was it last night as well? So,
yeah,
a wee bit
did.
Going on.
Yes, we did, yeah.
Yeah, so Le Mans, it's not going to be a formation lap due to the length of the track. So what it'll be is you'll have your countdown timer, and the leader will have his set point of where he has to stay at 100 mile an hour until he gets to that point, and he can choose where to go. Is there a gantry? I can't remember.
You're digging a hole and I'm willing to just let you keep digging, unless you would like me to save you.
Well, the last time I digged a hole, I've got two twins coming.
Okay, I'll save you. Right, okay. So at Le Mans, it is going to be a rolling start, but as Ray said, the only bit that he got right is that there won't be a formation lap. So at Le Mans, there is a gantry that is going to be the start of the race point. It's the point where you can overtake from. It's going to be the same point for the go-no-go zone, which for the viewers, they may not understand what that is, but for the drivers, you should. So basically, the in-game rolling start, once that timer that Ray mentioned has counted down and it says go, you can't overtake until you have passed the start light gantry, which is pretty much at the end of the pit lane wall. So the leader won't be able to go above the 100 mile an hour that Ray mentioned until that point. And there's no overtaking until after that point. So there's not going to be a lot of time to get much done before that, but there's no way we're doing a formation lap around Le Mans. because it's already, what, a 3-minute 20 or something like that lap. And if we did a formation lap, we'd be looking at it taking about 6 or 7 minutes. And if we did that, there'd only then be 33 minutes left of the race.
Would make it less stops.
True. Okay, a couple of things I do want to mention about the start procedure that we've had. Just to clarify to clarify a couple of things, because I do believe during the formation lap there was a few questions. Some people saying the car in front of me is going more than 100 mile an hour. Yep, they can. The leader is limited to 100 mile an hour so that everybody can keep up easily. Everybody behind the leader can go whatever speed they want in terms of however fast they want, but they can't overtake. They also can't drop off and leave a big gap. So you have to stay close to the car ahead of you. So yeah, just to clarify those couple of things. Also, if you happen to mess up on a formation lap and spin, if you lose one position, you have to drop to the back. If you lose 0 positions, you can carry on. So just to clarify that. Anything else you want to mention, Ray?
No.
Okay. As for what the fuel's going to be like at Le Mans, ain't got a clue. But it's hopefully, if it's anything like this race, we are going to be in for an absolute treat. And to be honest, if the rest of the championship is like this race, we're in for a hell of a 9 weeks. That's for certain. Okay. Yeah. Right, Ray. I think we're done.
We're done.
Yeah. Unless you want. Well, I say we're done. Unless, seeing as it's the first race of the season, we could go through the race result and the championship standings, and hope that the next 3 hours anyone sends a report.
No, I wasn't talking about that. I was just surprised you didn't have any jokes, you know. Usually you fire one in there.
Yeah, absolutely
well done.
None. Yeah, I would just see the picture you sent.
Picture I sent? Well,
yeah, G-Spot, I'm coming to find you. Oh, it was last year.
It's been in there, that's...
That's been in there since February last year. Okay.
That's been in
into that file. Okay, so yeah, we'll get on to the Confederation Championship standings in a second. So Ray, thank you very much for joining us on commentary.
No worry, pleasure as always. Thank you, drivers, for a great. What would you say, race, or do you say great
entertainment? Entertainment. Yeah.
Thanks for the great entertainment. Appreciate everyone he's.
Absolutely. Right, let's check out the Confederation result and the championship standings. Art Powell then confirmed with taking the victory. Jason in second place with Steve F1 in third. Twilight, good recovery from him to take fourth place, just ahead of Conrad in fifth. Demon R finished in sixth place, just ahead of Dave the Harp in seventh, who was a little bit ahead of SGP in eighth. Formula Gary, ninth place, was unfortunate on that last lap, got collected in that crash with SGP. Also Rich Blues was, I think, in a bit of a crash with SRI in the last lap as well. But Rich finished in 10th, Bob in 11th. He would have been higher up, but he ran out of fuel towards the start-finish line. Jimmy in 12th. I think he may have gone a non-stop in that race. It's very slow, but he managed to do it. Hay in 13th and SRI in 14th. So, confirmation of the current championship standings then, and that means it's exactly the same as the race result. Art Powell tops the table, 2 ahead of Jason, who's a couple ahead of Steve F1 in 3rd, Twilight 4th, Conrad 5th, Demon R 6th, David Harp 7th, SGP in 8th, Formula Gary 9th, Rich Blues in 10th, Almighty Nashi in 11th, Jimmy in 12th, Hay in 13th, and SRI in 14th. Well, it's been one hell of a race, and hopefully it's going to be one hell of a championship. As we've already mentioned, the next circuit is Le Mans. It's a long one, but it's going to be a fast one. Fuel management there is going to be critical, because you do not well, you're not going to want to be running out of fuel away from the pit lane, that's for certain. Don't forget as well, folks, merch is still available. Check out the link in the description. We can do custom items as well. Just drop us a message and we'll see what we can do for you. I will admit the t-shirts are brilliant quality. I think I've got about 4 or 5 of them myself, and the hoodies aren't too bad either. Right, let's have a good one, everybody. Thanks for watching. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, blah blah blah, and we'll see you all again soon. Have a good one. Bye.